If you're my age or above, I don't need to remind you of the huge impact that a royal wedding has on fashion. It has the power to shape bridal trends for years to follow, and of course the gown itself speaks volumes about the wearer, reflecting not only their personality, but the fashion and mood of the time. For good or bad, nothing embodied the 80s quite like the late Princess Diana's wedding dress in 1981. I was on pony camp at the time, but we were all piled into a marquee in the middle of a field, still wearing our muddy jodhpurs, to watch Lady Diana Spencer walk down the aisle of St. Paul's Cathedral, followed by 25 feet of ivory taffeta and antique lace. But my fellow pony clubbers and I weren't alone. We were joined by 1 billion people around the globe, who tuned into what was widely believed to be the fairy tale wedding of the decade. How wrong we were. Fated to wed in an era of flounce and excess, Diana's gown was an exercise in abundance, comprising of ornate puff sleeves, a dramatic full skirt and a flowing train, embroidered with pearls and sequins. The bodice was constructed with handmade Carrickmacross lace trim that had belonged to Queen Mary. The dress, valued at the time at around £9,000, £31,658 today, was designed by Elizabeth and David Emanuel, whose remit was to design a gown to be suitably dramatic in order to make an impression. And that it did. The gown was deemed a triumph, despite the fact Diana slimmed down from a size 14 to an 8 in the weeks prior to the wedding, and it somewhat engulfed her tiny frame. Copies were available within hours of the wedding, and Elizabeth has claimed that she was still getting requests for replicas as late as 2011. Sadly, the wedding didn't quite live up to the fairy tale, but that's a whole other story. Then of course in 1986 it was the turn of Sarah Ferguson, who also had the bad luck to wed the Duke of York in the 80s. This time the venue was Westminster Abbey, and the dress, designed by Linda Sirak, was another testimony to a decade of excess. Complete with padded shoulders and a 17-foot train, it was made from ivory duchesse satin and featured heavy beading incorporating various symbols including hearts, anchors and waves. The train also featured the embroidered initials A and S intertwined in silver beads, something that strangely didn't seem quite as naff 32 years ago. If Diana and Sarah's wedding gowns were all about opulence and excess, Kate Middleton's dress was a new take on classicism, reflecting the pared-back aesthetic of the year. It was a triumphant mix of the traditional and the modern. Kate's Alexander McQueen gown, designed by creative director Sarah Burton, was steeped in historical significance. The ivory satin bodice was inspired by Victorian corsetry, a McQueen hallmark that was beautifully orchestrated to look relevant today. The body of the dress was made up of ivory and white satin gazer, from fabrics carefully sourced by Sarah. The full skirt was designed to echo an opening flower, with soft pleats which unfolded to the floor, forming a Victorian-style semi-bustle at the back. For many, the bodice of the dress echoed that worn by Grace Kelly for her marriage to Rainier III, Prince of Monaco in 1956. The dress, costing a reported £250,000, is now on display at Buckingham Palace and has had a huge influence on bridal fashion. Fast forward to today and the eyes of the world are on Meghan Markle, with the rumor mill rife with speculation as to who will design her wedding dress. Until now, the future royal has been keen to promote Canadian fashion, championing designers like Erdem and labels like Mackage, Lionel Label and Smythe. She's also been deploying Kate Middleton's technique of mixing high-street labels like Marks and Spencer with her more expensive fashion choices to endear herself to the British public. For many, the money is on Erdem designing her wedding dress, but I'd love to see her choose a British designer. Couturier Giles Deacon undeniably has the skill and the talent to design a gown with the appropriate grandeur and sense of occasion, but he's an unlikely choice as he designed Pippa Middleton's wedding dress. I'm not sure how the odds are stacked, but I'd love to see Meghan wear something by Victoria Beckham. I know she's not renowned for bridal wear and her designs veer towards the minimal, but I still think it would be an amazing, if a somewhat unlikely, choice. It's worth noting that in December it was reported the pair had become close friends, regularly texting each other. Apparently it was Victoria who advised Meghan to visit facialist Sarah Chapman, and they've also been bonding over other areas of style. In previous interviews, Meghan has been vocal about her love of Victoria's designs, and she also picked a cream Victoria Beckham cashmere sweater for her official engagement photos. Historically, royal wedding dresses have been a magical mix of the traditional and the new, but I think Meghan will have more freedom than royal processors, not bound by the rigors of royal protocol. I think her dress will be a reflection of her personal style and also of her and Harry's modern relationship. Victoria is a designer very much from the modern mold, with her red carpet experience and catwalk prowess. This is a brief she would excel at. In my opinion, no one has a deeper understanding of what it takes to design a dress that not only flatters the female form, but looks good on camera. I think Meghan and Victoria would be a match made in wedding dress heaven. Thank you for watching.